Dancing?
We can do whatever we want. Just low key. Oh, look, it's live.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody. This is going to be the most low key, just for fun, real estate podcast, whatever we want to call it. Is it a podcast? It's a live
show.
It's a live stream show, but it's going to be very low key today. And it's going to be a lot of fun because there's a lot of like world tension going on. And I'm kind of like, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but I'm really tired of living in unprecedented times. Oh, can the people hear me? I think no one can hear me. Oh,
yes.
Oh, phew. He's talking so much in the background I couldn't even hear him. But because of unprecedented times, I had a little mental breakdown about an hour ago, and I shaved my head. No lie.
It looks awesome.
I took some clippers out and shaved my head and cut my own hair. Everybody can do that.
Many moons ago, she did this professionally, so that's why it looks good. If I did it, I would look not good.
Yeah, well, I'm still debating if I should shave the other side, but we do have an article that we're going to talk about. I was supposed to have a guest. I think he forgot, but which is fine. But if he does pop on, he'll pop on. His name's Joe Eves. He's coming out of Utah, and I'd like for him to talk about the Utah housing market because it's been going bonkers, crazy. My mom always says, "Oh goodness, things are just going gangbusters around here." That's what my mom does. She's like, "Oh look, they don't put a Walmart anywhere. Things are just going gangbusters around here." Look at that with a $20 super sticker. Why, thank you, there, construction cronies. I hope you're doing well. I know that he has one heck of a camera sound, but like, yeah. All right, here we go. Eddie, it's time to throw on the article. We're going to start reading.
Oh, hi, Debbie. Thank you for the hug.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
So sweet.
So sorry. Yeah. My little co-host here that comes every week. She's here in Baton Rouge, Tanya Cool, who's cooler than the other side of the pillow. Thank you again for joining us. So I'm not alone when somebody doesn't show up. And this is just a fun podcast today. Nothing. We're just trying to keep it light. So it says what to expect in 2022 spring housing market as told by 3 charts.
I do love a good chart.
I do love a good chart. I have to stop right here. I have to show you this guy right here. This is the CEO of Redfin. And if you ever want some comic relief when he talks about the housing market, watch CNBC in his segments. He says the most cockamamie, weirdest stuff in the whole entire world. He blows my mind. All right. Entering in the 2022 housing, the consensus among the real estate industry was the spring housing market. The industry's peak season would be less frenzied this year. After all, it could get much worse than 2021 spring housing market when over 70% of homes listings were at a bidding war, right? Whoever wrote this article is seriously not paying attention. Like, I don't know about you, but the housing market is just as bad as the years previous. The worst part about it is there's less inventory. Unfortunately for home buyers, the conversational wisdom has shifted. Not only has the spring housing market looked like it'll be red hot, there's a chance that it goes down as the hottest spring home buying season we've ever had. It will go down as the hottest spring season we've ever had. That's what I think. I think we're going to see higher, like they were not expecting the increase in home prices that had happened just from the beginning of 2022.
Correct.
They're like, they never had seen prices go as high as they had. Now, spring has sprung and it's wild and crazy out there. It's causing some frustration at this point in this real estate market. The housing market is coming off of a year in which U.S. housing prices soared to an unsustainable 18.8%. And I think they are saying that it's going to go up to another 16%. And then some forecasts are having it at nearly 22. Yeah, 22.
Oh, jeez.
I thought Zillow was at 21.6%. I could be wrong. All right. So can the market be red hot? Yes. To explain what's going on, Fortune built 3 charts showing us where the housing market stands and as we enter the spring season. All right. Scroll down just a bit of Eddie. Eddie's in the background. All right. I have to, let's just pause 1 second. Thank you, Eddie, for shaving my head for me today. I want you to know I didn't quite do it by myself.
Go,
Eddie,
Eddie!
I couldn't get back in the back of my head, so Eddie shaved Eddie shaved the whole thing and made sure my part was even because I had it like this. So he helped me. So thank you, Eddie. All right. The housing inventory shifted during the pandemic. We all know that the Texas has gotten some red hot things. When the pandemic struck in, the national real estate groups projected that the housing market would enter into a slump, but it didn't happen.
Let's take a look at this chart too.
Okay.
Where if you look at the state of Pennsylvania, it's a minus 30% inventory. That olive color is a minus 30% inventory. Maine, most of Florida is a minus 30% inventory.
South Louisiana
Also minus 30% inventory. The middle part of California on down, again, minus 30% inventory. The habitable part of Nevada, where I just was earlier this week for a real estate convention, the top half also a minus 30 inventory. So if you look at this, you see an olive green sea, and combined with the tan, it's a huge shortage. Even Alaska has a housing shortage.
Yeah, well, they always have a problem with getting enough houses on the market because of the weather conditions and the terrain. So that Alaska's not, that doesn't surprise me. They always kind of have a shortage because it's just difficult. Yeah. So the gray areas is kind of like your even housing market. And then the black areas is a surplus. You have a surplus of homes in that little area in the center
of South Dakota. Maybe that's the Badlands where there really isn't much demand to begin with. I'm not sure.
I don't know if I have never been to South Dakota. I wasn't even sure. I'm terrible. I wasn't even sure which state that was.
Right.
Thank you for your geography.
I did win a geography bee in the 6th grade.
How many of you actually knew that was South Dakota? I want to really know, because I bet you many of you were like, let me pull up my map here. I didn't know. I'm terrible.
Well, it's not Minnesota or Montana, so there's North Dakota, South Dakota.
Yeah.
Wow. Arkansas. Wow. 90% of that state is olive green, negative 30%. That means that there's 30% more demand than there are units. Oh my goodness.
Arkansas.
Jeez.
Who knew? But I bet you that's because of that show, The Ozarks. Do you watch that show?
Probably. Isn't Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri?
It's all through Missouri and Arkansas.
Oh, that's probably why everybody wants to move there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We drove through there. And I'm like, hey, you know what? They have a Starbucks here. I could live here.
That's a criteria.
I don't even drink Starbucks. I don't even drink coffee. This is tea, by the way. It's not coffee. It's hot tea. No lie. There's no alcohol in here. See? Okay. All right. Stop. Instead, by the summer of 2020, the housing market was booming as first-time millennials who were enticed by record low mortgage rates rushed to buy. That uptick in home buyer demand saw an inventory dry up. By the spring of 2021, housing inventory was down 32% from pre-pandemic levels, with buyers outnumbering the homes for sale. They had no choice but to offer overlisting if they wanted to win. Cue the record bidding wars last spring. I do want to say this because people are like, the real estate agents are loving this market. There are less houses for sale than there are real estate agents. So a lot of these agents are dipping out, good portion of them. And it's not because the housing market's crashing. It's because of the fact, because I saw a video, somebody said that. I was like, you're an idiot. It's not because it's crashing. It's because they can't find any homes for their buyers to buy, and they don't get enough listings. So they're like, some agents are dipping out. Yeah. Ones that can't handle the pressure. All right, scroll down. Obviously, you know that I've been on JVTV because that's the ad that keeps coming up. Industry insiders had hoped that inventory levels would begin to rise heading into this year, which they had predicted. The thinking was that the more elderly homeowners who were cautious about moving during the pandemic would begin to list their homes once they got vaccinated. I knew that wasn't going to happen. Additionally, it was expected that some struggling homeowners would exiting the COVID-19 mortgage forbearance program would begin to wind down in September of 2021 and list their homes. They saved their house. Their mortgage payments were either restructured or they just picked up where they left off. Yep. So why would they give up their home? Inventory levels did begin to rise last fall, but fizzled out by November as as the number of homes for sale began to shrink again. Indeed, inventory levels in January were at 42% below January 2020, 42% below January 2022, 2020's levels. Among 327 housing markets tracked by Zillow, 254 have inventory levels that are down more than 30%. Simply put, the housing market is tighter now than it was heading into the frenzied spring of 2021.
100%.
But here's the thing, and I'm asking you in the audience this. I want to get your opinion. Do you think that with the unrest and the fact that they've already stated that the gas prices are going to go really, really high, the home prices will go up because of this? Because if it costs more the builders to get their materials, that cost goes on to the buyers. Do you think that we're going to see home prices drop? I want to just put the word drop. Do you think the home prices are going to drop because of everything that's going on in the Ukraine and between Russia and everything? If we get closer to war, do you think home prices will drop? I just want your personal opinion. Just say drop if you think that is going to be the case. So this is what Zillow's forecast is for year-over-year change in home prices. Gold represents the actual 12-month growth as measured by the S&P Cap Shiller U.S. Home Price Index. Blue represents Zillow's 12-month home price forecast. So if they remember, they had said at the beginning of the year that was only going to be at 16%, and some people were even laughing. They're like, "It's not going to go up that high." And I thought it was going to home prices would start flattening out by the end of the third quarter, but I was wrong. I was wrong. I didn't, especially with inflation the way it was, and the way they were talking about mortgage interest rates. I didn't see it.
I think that, to answer the question you asked the audience, I think that the gas crisis as a result of the Ukraine-Russia conflict is not going to affect home prices. And here's why. It's going to not have them decrease or even flatten out. And the reason is, at least in the Pittsburgh market, 75% of knowledge workers are still working from home. One of the largest employers, UPMC, got rid of and has no plans to reobtain 9 floors of corporate housing space for office workers. They are permanently working from home. That was in the middle of the pandemic, and they have no plans to obtain any more office space for those people. So at least in my market, it's not going to get, the outlook is not going to get any better.
Yeah. I just was wondering, because I was reading this thing and they were saying, well, it could be, housing prices drop. But, like what we were talking about even last week and the week before was interest rates. And they did tick down a bit this week.
I know.
And I saw another article that was saying that we could even see it back to low 2s again.
No.
This is,
low 2s.
That's what they were saying.
Like that's how much she believes it.
Yeah, that's the knowers of all, people that would have degrees in this. They said because of the fact of all of the things that are going on across the world and how many different countries are getting involved, it's possible that we could see mortgage interest rates drop again. So that's good news for people that are thinking that maybe, first of all, if they want to refinance. If you are going to refinance, let me know in the comment section. And it's really good for people that were trying to find a deal, Correct. Yeah. So if you're like, I talk about this all the time, HUDhomestore.com. If you are thinking about buying a foreclosed property, HUD has been releasing more foreclosed properties on their website. You just have to check it all the time. And the thing about whenever a new listing comes on HUD Home Store, is it HUD Store? It might be org now. It's not .com. It doesn't matter. If you just put in HUD Home Store, something will come up. And yeah, so you don't have to fight with investors. The first 14 days that those houses go on the market, they always look at those offers first. And even if after the 14th day, if you were to come in and an investor was to come in at the same exact time, they're going to look at yours before they look at the investors. They want to give them to, individual home buyers, single family. What is it called? Owner occupants. Owner occupants. I do that every time, don't I?
Okay. And by the way, if you're thinking, oh, the investor's going to try and compete, here's the thing. They are going to require some proof of local employment or identity, because I bid on those many years ago, and I had to upload my Pennsylvania driver's license to show that I lived in proximate vicinity to the house that I was bidding on.
Yeah. Yep. I've done it for investors. This was before, like during the last housing crash, when we had a lot of foreclosures and short sales and stuff. And I would find homes for investors on this website all the time. And the requirements for them are as hard. If they are going to take an investor thing, they just want to make sure that you got the money. That's it. Right. As long as it's cash and you got the money, and a social security number or a EIN number, that's it. That's all they need. Crazy Nurse says, Kristina, can anyone recommend a realtor in the
Putnam?
Thank you, Putnam. I was like Putnam County area. Yes, I can. Look, I don't know that specific county, but I know many counties throughout the area, and I know tons of real estate agents in Florida. I don't know if you know this, but I used to live in Florida. And if you just go to my website right here, Eddie just pulled it up. Just go to the contact little button at the top, or you can there's several little buttons on there, but you just contact me, fill out the referral form, and I'll get back with you. Also on the right-hand side, there's this chat bot that kind of showed up out of nowhere. I didn't put it on there. The website decided to do that. You can do that too, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. Fill out the little thing, book out the call, and fill it out there. Don't use the chat bot, because all the chat bot does is just give you the form again, and then it's kind of weird how they did it. Freaking chat bot. I didn't put it on there. They did it. I don't even like chat bots. Yeah, but yes, Crazy Nurse, I can help you. And the thing is, if you leave your phone number, I'll give you a call. I'll actually call you on the phone. People are always surprised about that, but I do call on the phone.
She's a live person. She's a real person. She has the phone.
Yeah. And then people are like, well, even other real estate agents are like, how do you handle all of that? And like, why don't you have an assistant do it? I'm like, I'm putting my name on this. Why of course I'm going to call.
Obviously.
That doesn't, oh my gosh. I want to make sure
you wonder what they're doing. And that's how she screens them.
I do that. And that is true. I screen. So when I interview agents that say they want to get on my referral list, it doesn't take me but about 5 minutes. Right. And if I hear their way that they handle leads, and it sounds like a machine, like, oh, I have this assistant, and then we pre-qualify them, and then we put them through our buyers program, and then we do I'm like, you have too many systems going on here, and you're not really having, what happened to communication? I have a virtual assistant that puts them into the my CRMs, and then I have a transaction coordinator that handles the paperwork. And then I'm like, holy cow.
She wants a human.
I want a human being that works this and knows who their clients are. Like when they say to me, sometimes I'm so busy, I don't remember their names. That's it.
She's pre-qualifying them as a human.
Yeah. Like they're done. I can't do it. Matt Daniel says, what ways are there to follow the shadow residential housing inventory? The Louisiana king cake is circulating around the globe. Nice show. Keep it up here. I want to say I just got my last king cake from somebody. Somebody sent me one. I have to get you to try it. It's delicious. It has cream, like a big thick ribbon of cream cheese in there, and it's so good. This is your question.
That's a good question, Matt, and I can tell you that it depends on what market you're in. In Pittsburgh, 40% of the residential housing is sold off market, and yet 98% is still transacted by an agent. So what that means is picking out a real estate agent that has those connections to estate attorneys, institutional investors. A lot of these 40% come to me by way of estate attorneys. I have really good relationships with them. They come to me and they say, this house has some issues. Maybe it's not FHA eligible. Maybe it's not VA eligible, but do you have a buyer in this school district, in this market? And 9 times out of 10, I do. And if I don't, I have a colleague who does. So it's a one quick phone call and the house is under contract in a matter of a few days and it never hits the market. So establishing a relationship with that type of agent in that market is critical, because only a few agents are really influencing that 40%. And that's in Pittsburgh. It could be different in other places.
Yeah. It if you're buying in New Orleans, it's a lot like that too. We don't have as much because there isn't much inventory. We don't have a lot of houses off market.
These aren't fancy houses. These are 2, 3, 4 bedroom houses. These estate attorneys are handling an estate for somebody who passed away. And the family simply doesn't want to do the preparation work to get it market ready. Somebody has been living there, or perhaps somebody was in an assisted living facility or a nursing home and the house has sat vacant for a while. So it takes a different type of buyer. And the estate attorneys are looking for the real estate agents who have those types of clients.
Yeah. Good stuff. And, you know, sometimes too, if you work with close with a real estate attorney in your area, they'll tell you some stuff that's coming on the market too. Pocket listings are only for close buddies.
Oh Lord.
There was something in here. Hey Eddie, I don't know if you can hear me, but can you find the king cake baby? Yeah, king cakes do have babies in them. Can you show them the king cake baby? Like, I don't know if I still have one around here, but I want to. I
promise I won't eat the baby. Although I have bitten into 2 separate babies because I forgot.
Now the people that are like, they're scared, they run scared, they'll put the baby off to the side. But the true blue good Louisiana people, they bake the baby inside. And I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but yeah, there is a baby inside the cakes, the king cakes. And it's a Louisiana tradition. It always comes out during Mardi Gras. If it's before Mardi Gras and it's at the Christmas time, that they call them queen cakes, but it's the same damn cake. And it doesn't have a baby in it. And then inside is like in this like donut. It's the consistency of a donut, I would say. And it's filled with this. You can fill them, you don't have to, but it's like a cinnamon bread donut type thing. And then they put this frosting and different colored sugars on the top. And then it has the king cake baby. And if you get the baby, you're supposed to have good luck, but you're also supposed to buy the next king cake. I don't know if you know that. If you get the king cake baby, you have to get another king cake. You're supposed to get the next king cake.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, here's the king cake baby. That is the official Louisiana king cake baby.
The one I've been into is a little bit smaller.
Isn't it? It's totally disturbing looking. That is the king cake baby. Yep. I actually have a t-shirt with this on there. That is the most horrifying looking baby.
Oh my
The king cake baby. But the baby that's in the cake itself is like this big. And it's a little naked baby. It's just going, you know.
Too funny. Too funny.
All right. Totally off the subject. We're
totally off the topic.
Do you have any questions that came through? Because my guest, I think, forgot about me. Eddie's pulling up the questions for me. And Tanya's got some questions too. Like if you want to ask Tanya, she's in the Pennsylvania market. She can answer your Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Does Pittsburgh like housing market, and is it anything like Philadelphia's, or is that like basically like here, New Orleans to Baton Rouge is completely different?
Yeah, we're more like Indianapolis or Omaha. Like whenever we get these nice king cake baby Eddie, whenever we get like comparisons, it's always to like metro areas of like 1.5 to 2 million people. So not Philadelphia.
That disturbing naked baby that Eddie just pulled up is the king cake baby. And now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Yes, Debbie. Yeah. I have seen housing prices that I would have never seen in history. A house that I sold in 2018 for $260,000. I just did comparables for them.
War and Peace has something to say.
Yeah, hold on. That house went up for 400. That house is going to be 420,000.
Ooh,
420,000. So War and Peace says 2 months in our new home now, and many thanks to you, young ladies. Thank you. God, thank you. We're going to send you a virtual hug. Congratulations.
She's so shy with praise. I'm like, congratulations.
I don't know. I'll tell you, I last week I even told everybody I got on this list of top YouTubers for real estate, and I thought the list was bogus. I mean, honest to God, it was the most bogus list. And there were people on there that I really felt like they should have been on there. There wasn't people on the list that should have been, and that made me angry. So maybe
you're more accessible. Maybe your advice is more straightforward.
No,
Okay.
I think they should have been on there. I mean, more deserving than me. Anyways, Crazy Nurse said, Kristina, she's got to pick me. First time here, live in Florida, and wanted to buy a modular home. Any advice? Oh, do I have some advice for you?
Buckle up.
Yeah, here it is. Okay, so before pre-pandemic, modular homes ran a little bit less expensive than a traditional built home. I love them. I still love them because they're built to better than typical building standards in most cases. In some areas, you're going to have a few areas that are not as, that have it a little bit better, but they're airtight, they're energy efficient, they have a wonderful lifespan. The roofing is good, the seal is good, the way they connect together is fantastic. The thing about it now is, just like all home building, if you were to order a house currently, normally it would take about, from the time that you ordered it and put it together and had all the plans put together, take about 9 months from start to finish. Now that's going to be about 18 to 21 months.
To 21?
Yes.
2 weeks ago, you said 18. Now it's to 21.
18 to 21 months on modular homes because they have to order specific materials. The other thing is what I've been told is what they're worried about is copper. They're not sure how much copper they're going to be able to get in. And they do buy that in bulk, but it's just taking them a lot longer, and people are ordering more homes than they ever had before. So all these things are causing a delay. It's causing a delay. I asked them about the people that actually work there. They said that they never lost, a few of them have said they haven't lost any employees. It's just that the amount of work that they're doing is taking a lot more. And then they had to shut down a few times because of, because of the pandemonium and stuff. So right now, if it was me, I would not buy a brand new house. The only way I buy a manufactured home is if it was already existing and it was on the lot and they could have it delivered within a month or two. I wouldn't buy a modular home right now, again, unless they already had a model that was sitting on their lot that could be delivered in pieces and brought to my location. That would be the only way I buy a modular home brand new right now. The way to go, in my opinion, is just to go ahead and find a house that's for sale. But you're fishing, it's like, it's so hard. I saw a statistic by National Association of Realtors that said before the pandemic, it was 1 in 25 houses were considered affordable housing for somebody that was buying for the first time. Now it's 1 in 65 in some of the hottest and some of the least hottest markets. So we would say Austin, Texas, and Miami are hot markets. Those are like 1 in 125 are considered affordable housing options. So if it was me, the only way if I had to have a home, the only way I would do it is if a house was already existing and it was for sale right now. Right now, I wouldn't build to save my life, but that's just me. Would you build right now?
Pittsburgh is not a big new building market. I would choose an on your lot builder or a semi-custom builder. I would not choose some of the big home builders, but there's still builders in Pittsburgh who are doing really good jobs and on your lot and semi-custom. Yes. And none of those options are affordable. I would not choose an affordable home builder now at all.
CC Moon just gave us some really good king cake baby facts right here. I had no idea.
Factoids.
Yeah, I had no idea. We're going to go off the rails again. She said king cake is used in Mexican culture, and it's from Spain. And whoever gets the plastic baby Jesus has to host the party and have food for everyone. I've not been into a Mexican woman's family's house that did not have food
for everyone.
For everybody. They're like, hey, do you want something to eat? And they're like, they pull out a tray this big. I mean, like, honest to God, I have these investors, and she's like, oh, I'm making dinner. And I'm like, are you making dinner for an army? My God, and it's so good. It's so good. What did you say, Eddie? Oh, it's called a Three Kings Cake Baby, but we just call them king cakes here. So, Eddie's going to pull up another question because we're doing this. But yeah, I just saw that on the National Association of Realtors. And then and there's one more thing I wanted to tell you. So I don't know if you guys heard last week, but Trevor Smith talked about a program that he has. So as you know, if you're a first-time home buyer, you're getting bid out really fast because some of these bidders bid cash, and the sellers are like, well, I know they can close because they have cash. The program that he was talking about was that it basically, the bank gives you the cash to buy the house. You're still getting a mortgage, but it gives you that upfront cash deal so you could close it, but you're closing with a loan. So that way you can close right away. So you can say you're making a cash offer. So that was like, I've seen that came out of Seattle in the beginning of 2021. I was like, ooh, that's really interesting. I wonder how far that will go.
Right.
And obviously more and more banks have jumped on the bandwagon. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Eddie, do we have a question? I see one from Brenda. No, Eddie said no. I can't use that question. No, Eddie says not yet. Eddie has a question he wants to. Christopher Fitzgerald said, question, what about the people who can't get insurance because of their roof? What happens to them? Here in the state of Louisiana, we know all about roofs and the longevity of roofs and what happens with roofs. So if you are purchasing a house and you have the inspection done and you had foregone having the seller do any repairs or make any repairs, and the insurance company says, hey, you can't close on this house until you have repairs done, you better hurry up and get a roofing guy out there, because you can't buy a house without insurance, and you may have to let go of the house. Now, if you're a seller and you're trying to sell your house and you know that your roof is bad, you're going to have to disclose that on your property disclosure. But if you can't afford to have it done, what I would do is I would get a quote from a local roofing company to talk about how much it will cost to have the roof repaired or replaced, and then attach that to your property disclosure. Now, I don't know here in Louisiana, they don't drop you if your roof is bad, right? They will say, because of the storm, we have to replace it and you have to pay your down payment. And if you don't, and you don't pay your insurance, they'll just go ahead and find you insurance. And the insurance that they find you is so expensive, because I have mine taken out like separately. I have my taxes and my insurance taken out separately. It's wicked expensive.
Really?
Yeah, because I had forgotten to, I was a little late on the bill. So they went ahead and signed me up for another insurance company. Yeah, it's very pricey.
In the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, it goes like this. If you're buying a house, then a good real estate agent will send your inspection report to an independent insurance broker, and they will tell you straight off the bat whether or not it's insurable. So what happens is a lot of people without good real estate agents, or people who fly by the seat of their pants, they apply for insurance and they get it because they have good credit. And in the 30 days after closing, an insurance person from that underwriter will go and take a picture of the roof and do an assessment and send you a nice letter when you're really busy moving into the house and say, oh my gosh, you have to get a new roof in the next 30 or 45 days or we're dropping you. Good luck. So that's what happens when you buy a house. If you have had a house for a while and you are, and they're thinking about dropping you, then what you can do is twofold. You can get a home equity line of credit and put a new roof on. Some roofers will finance new roofs, but essentially you do have to keep your roof in good condition, or you will lose your insurance.
Eddie's the best at pulling up articles. He says, find out why you were denied. These are the first steps to understand why you were denied coverage. As we said, there are many reasons that you could have been denied for coverage. Most insurance agents will give you at least some information as to why you were denied. Here are some common reasons. Roof is older than 20 years old electrical system, water damage, low quality building materials, mold, aggressive dog breed, poor credit score, 2 or more claims in the last 3 to 5 years. Home is in a high risk area for natural disaster. Home is vacant for part of the year, or you ran a business from your home. Another thing I want to point out, Eddie, scroll up. I don't know if they used to do this, and I need to ask an insurance guy. They used to have something called a clue report. So every single house has their own like a Carfax, right? It's like a Carfax, but it's like a Carfax for homes, and it's called a clue report. So you can find out all the claims that have been filed on the house for the life of the house. And you could find out if they were remedied or not.
Ooh.
Yeah. So sometimes people will file a claim and then the insurance will deny that claim, right? But you can find out if they remedied those items, because the insurance companies will go out there and see if they remedied the items. So I don't know if they still do clue reports, comprehensive loss underwriting exchange. I don't like, somebody told me, and I could be completely wrong, but one insurance guy says that we don't run clue reports anymore. And I don't know. I would have to ask an insurance guy, but that was really helpful, especially when it was during the last housing crash, when there was a lot of houses that sat vacant, so they didn't know what was wrong with the house. And so then the bank had taken over. So you're kind of buying some of these houses blindsided. So you didn't know, but you could go to your insurance company and ask them for the clue report for that specific address. They would pull it up and let you know if there was anything alarming on that report. Like, like the hot water heater had been stolen 3 times, and like something crazy, or somebody. I had this happen to a foreclosed property. They had poured, the people that lived in the house were so angry, they had poured concrete down the pipes.
It was kitty littering. It happened.
Yeah, and kitty litter in your area. Yeah. They would get angry with the banks. I'm waiting for Lawnmower's response to what Lawnmower always says. It's not that it's a big cup of coffee. It's just that Kristina's very small. and it's hot tea. Yes, it is a 55-gallon drum of hot tea. I have a problem. That's why my teeth are always yellow, because I drink a lot of tea. And then like I do like sweet tea too. Off the rails again. This was, like I said, this was a low key, very fun, have fun, because I'm tired of living in unprecedented times. Oil drums empty as Kristina has to replace them with coffee. It's tea. It's hot tea.
Accurate. Sukumar B question: bought a brand new investment condo in Indianapolis. Later found 70% of the condos were sold to one big investor.
Yep.
Should I keep or sell, because there will be rental competition? I have other properties and can do a 1031 exchange.
I'd keep it. What would you do?
It depends. It depends what your goals are. Do you have something picked out to buy with the 1031 exchange? Are you prepared to pay the capital gains tax if after 6 months you don't identify a property for the 1031 exchange? It depends. If you have a property in mind, or you're very confident that you can execute on that 1031 exchange, I would.
Okay.
But that's a big caveat. If that if is doing a lot of work in that sentence. If you've identified a property, if you can do that.
Right. And just because a corporation owns most of it, if you're planning on renting it out too, who cares? Who cares? You're just doing what they're doing. And if anything, if they raise rates, rents, that you can raise them really quick too, Kristina, would you put a dishwasher in a rental? I just got one after like 5 years, and it makes dishes a lot easier and quicker. Eddie and I have a problem with dishwashers. We have replaced in our marriage more dishwashers than most people could possibly imagine. So yes, we've replaced dishwashers. Yes, we would. In our rentals, we replace dishwashers. I love a dishwasher. But even in this house, it's only 7 years old. We're on our second dishwasher. In our last house, we had 3 dishwashers. In our first home, we had 4 dishwashers.
We can talk about what brands you're buying. That's crazy.
Oh, we've done them all. We've had Whirlpool. We've had Samsung. We've had LG. We've had
Miele.
We had GE. We had I don't even know what we have now, but we go through dishwashers. I don't know what happens. Like sometimes the door hatch, the little hinge will break off, and we kept complaining to our builder about it. And it got to the point where it was like, you know what, we're just going to deal with it. And we would actually take a chair and stick it under our brand new dishwasher so the door would stay closed. The dishwasher actually physically worked. It was just the fact that the door was off center from the latch. Then after like a while, it just got to the point where it was like, this is really stupid. We're grown-ups and we're sitting here with a chair with tape too. We were taping the top so it would stay closed to wash our dishes. So then we got another one. So that's number 2. We're on number 2. Brandoza's is the best king cake. It is, right? It is the best. I've always said it was the best, except until I had this king cake. I'm going to make you have a piece. And I think it's called Claudia's. It is so good. It's very similar to the Randozas. It's very, very, very similar. But the cream cheese in their king cake is the bomb.com. It's like so good. And they don't put too much frosting on it. I hate when I feel like it can hurt my teeth. I don't like that.
Kristina don't like that.
Yeah. Eddie, do we have any more questions, or we're just gonna keep rolling down the river? We're trying to keep it light.
Oh,
thank you. I'll be calling you. Do you want me to call you today? Let me know, Crazy Nurse. If you want me to call you today, I'll call you right after the show's over. Most of the time I wait. So that way you don't have to, if you want me to call you today, let me know. Let me know in the chat.
In the chat.
Let me know in the chat. Sumar bought a brand new investment condo.
Oh, we already did this one.
We did this one already, Eddie.
Eddie. We're gonna flog him afterwards.
Oh yeah. He likes that kind of stuff. Brenda Atkins says, not really. I have asked a question about homes inherited in Tempe, Arizona. I just wanted to say it's going on the market tomorrow after a long wait. I'm so excited. Thanks for your help. Oh my gosh. Yes. Inherited property can be one of the biggest things. Now, here in Louisiana, I don't know if you know this, and it's not like this in anywhere else in the United States that I'm aware of, but in Louisiana, if you do not have a will and you're married, your assets do not automatically go to your spouse.
What?
They go to your kids. Your assets.
Spin move.
Yeah, the assets go to the kids.
Really?
Yeah. So like the spouse isn't going to be putting arsenic in anybody's teacups because if the husband dies,
holy crap,
you're not getting the house. The kids are.
Yikes. No, we have two different types of deed recordings in Pennsylvania. One for like siblings or friends or unmarried partners, and then the second for married couples. Two different types of deeds because the one automatically to the other party, the married deeds.
They think I'm over my caffeine limit.
No, she's always like this.
I'm seriously like this all the time. When I was a kid, my dad would be like, don't ever call me this, but this is my dad and my mom always called me Tina, and they would say, Tina, can you please keep still and quit bouncing your leg? And why are you moving all the time? Can you keep still? And now to this day, my dad would say, will you keep still? I said, I physically cannot keep still. No, I don't know what's wrong with me. I like me the way I am. I know I'm a spaz. I've accepted that and I'm moving forward with it. Serenity Cow, love that name. Question, do pocket listings help investors? Seems like an additional hurdle for individual buyers to contend with. Why would agents hide them from the public so we all get a chance? I'm going to let you answer, but sure. I will say this. There are people, and I'm always shocked by this, that come into our brokerage and they'll say, I do not want my house advertised. I do not you can list it, but I do not want a sign in my yard. I do not want a lockbox. I just want my house for sale. You can bring in your own buyers, but do not put it on the open market. I do not want to see it on Zillow, realtor.com, any of that kind of stuff. I don't want my neighbors knowing my business. So please do not put it anywhere there, but you have the listing. So that would be technically considered a pocket listing. Us as real estate agents don't necessarily want it like that. Now, there are some people that are like, they feel like they have like some kind of upper hand because they have this secret like vault of houses in the background. They're like, oh, you want a house? I have some in my secret vault back here. There are people like that, and they've always been there and they always will be there. There's a group of old guys around here that kind of do that, but they're in their own like little club, kind of like, some people, like they know some people. They've been right. They're in their 80s and they hold on to those houses forever. I don't know.
Fundamentally, Serenity Cow, they fall into two categories. One, people do not want signs in their yard. They don't want it advertised online. They're very privacy conscious. Most of them come, in my experience, from like securities, engineering backgrounds. They simply don't want it publicly advertised in any way. They are disclosed that they will be getting a lesser amount of money as a result of not exposing it to the public. And they sign with that acknowledgement because they want to maintain their privacy. The second thing is that a lot of these homes are not eligible for FHA or VA financing. So as a result, the sellers are looking not for top dollar, because people are motivated by different things, but they're looking for a confirmed buyer. And that doesn't mean that it's not a traditional owner occupant. That just means that they are looking for a real estate agent who can connect them to someone who's not going to hassle them over inspections and who is going to complete the sale.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Because
and cash.
The truth is that there's a lot of first-time home buyers who get cold feet and who back out of the process during the inspections.
I didn't like the paint color the inside of the house. I mean, or I love this one. It was giving me a bad vibe.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. I just felt something when I walked in there.
Yep.
I felt a vibe when I walked in. It was different the first time. I felt there was a negative vibe.
I had a seller who was building a home, and they were doing their financing through a mortgage broker that I connected them with. And when they went to sell their existing home, they said to me, I only want a buyer who has gone through the financial colonoscopy that Mike put them through. And they said, if they're not doing all that documentation, if they're not getting fully underwritten, then they're not serious buyers. So everyone had to go through them. So at the end of the day, you are acting at the discretion of the seller, and it's licensing, federal and state licensing dictate that you have to fiduciarily tell people, this is what you could get in the open market. This is what you can get in this situation. And of course, you're going to have less hassle.
I love that word, fiduciary. That was a word when I got into real estate, I was like, oh, that's a good word. I like that word. And the other word I like in real estate is ministerial acts. It sounds like
what's that?
Ministerial acts. That's
when that one.
Okay, so maybe it's just a Louisiana term. I can't remember now because I took that test a million years ago. Ministerial acts is things like. So your neighbor next door is trying to sell his mom's house. He already knows that his brother is going to go ahead and purchase it. He just wants you to facilitate, they've already negotiated it. They don't want anything else. They just want you to fill out the paperwork and get it over to the title company. So you're not doing anything but you're getting paid one flat fee.
Oh, okay.
And you're just basically a glorified transaction coordinator. There's no negotiating involved. Everything's done. You're just working as ministerial acts.
In Pennsylvania, we call that transactional agency.
Okay.
There's buyer agency, seller agency, and transactional agency. And you are just putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Usually it's neighbors, siblings. Our neighbor's nephew is buying the house. He's pre-approved, but can you do the paperwork for you? Sure, absolutely.
It's a legal term, not just in Louisiana. Lee Ward said, but I love that word. And it sounds so much cooler. Ministerial.
It does. We don't have ministerial.
Sounds magical. Cece Moon with $1.99 super chat said, thanks, Kristina. Make sure to be on the, yes, I will put you there. If there was anything in particular, would you like one of my mugs? Do you want me to leave you a mug? I'll leave you a mug. Shay Joe says, question, I live in Lakeland, Florida. I know the area. And I'm thinking about buying a house. But I noticed that the prices in the area have really, really inflated. Yes, that's true of everywhere in Florida. Should I wait or should I try to get into this crazy market? All right. This is one of those depends questions. Are you financially secure right now? How much of a payment can you afford? Have you talked to a loan officer yet? What is your debt to income ratio? Do you have a reserve of, emergency reserve of money? Those are all the questions you need to be asking yourself and asking a loan originator or a home mortgage processor, one of those people. You need to talk to them because they're going to have a better understanding what your personal finances are and what you can afford in a home. I will strongly advise, don't allow yourself to become house poor. We've had family members that did this. They wanted a house so bad. And then they had no furniture in it. They had furniture in the kitchen and they had the furniture in their kids' bedrooms and they had furniture in their bedroom. And that was it. The rest of the rooms were empty. They had this humongous house and no furniture in it. Weirdest thing I'd ever seen. I was like, why would you do that?
Right.
And then Eddie and I had our little 1,500 square foot house. We were happy.
And you had furniture.
And we have furniture. No, but even then we
all the rooms.
No, actually we didn't. we did because we had a baby on the way.
Oh, geez.
And so one of the rooms stayed empty. And then I'm like, the baby sleeps with us anyways. And I'm like, well, I guess we need to get her a crib, I don't know. I did not prepare for my first child very well, but it all worked out. People just ended up giving us stuff. S has a question. You said, do you fly from Pittsburgh every single week to do this?
Yes. Hi, S. Yes, I do. And Pittsburgh has an H, but that's okay. When you come and visit, I will introduce you to the H of Pittsburgh. My husband is actually helping out with the Ida recovery. So he is here 7 days a week, and I am here a few days a week. So he has been here since before Thanksgiving, and I came down after Thanksgiving. So I shuttle back and forth from Louisiana to Pittsburgh.
And it's really just to see me.
Kristina 1, my spouse 2.
Yeah. I feed her. That's the whole thing. Is every time she comes over, I feed her. Good. I have like terrible stomach issues, and that's one of those things. As I cook a lot because I don't like eating out, and so I'm like, if I have something and I'm like, oh, that tastes good, I wonder if I can make it myself. Of course, that's what I'm going to do is make it myself.
She's an actual chef, like a gourmet chef.
Well, I don't know if anybody knows this, but last week I didn't put out a video. And the reason being is my daughter has inherited my stomach issues. You will be happy to hear she had a colonoscopy. She's totally fine. She does not have Crohn's disease, and she doesn't have colitis, which I'm totally thrilled about. Whew. So she just has the regular stomach problems, not the really bad stomach problems. But I'm really happy to know that she's very well. Very good. Eddie, can you throw up the next question, please? Here, he's going to do it. He just took one off. He's going to put another one up. He's so good. And he's good looking, by the way. Nobody knows that, but Eddie is a good looking dude. Pooh's Blessberry Day said, can you share the timelines and basics of the 1031 exchange? Go ahead.
Sure. So I'm not a financial advisor, and financial advisors and attorneys and real estate agents cannot act as your 1031 exchangee.
Right.
So the first thing to understand is you have to hire a qualified intermediary. These run about $1,000 to start out with. And what they do is when you sell the property, the funds do not go to you, the seller, but they go to the QI, the qualified intermediary. Mm-hmm. And then they hold the funds for up to 6 months. And in those 6 months, you need to purchase and close on a property from the funds of that. So let's just say easy numbers, you are netting $100,000, and $100,000 less $1,000 goes to the qualified intermediary, and they hold that $99,000 for you. And then you go and purchase another property that costs $150,000. Right. So you cough up the extra $50,000 by way of a bank loan, hard money, or some other way. Mm-hmm. And you are not paying capital gains tax on that $100,000 net gain that you had. This is a very, very basic 30-second explanation of it.
Right.
Anything that you don't spend that you want to take as income is called a boot.
The boot.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie has a highlighted thing that he wants us to read. Measured from when the relinquished property closes, the exchanger has 45 days to nominate and identify potential replacement properties, and 180 days to acquire the replacement property. The exchange is completed in 180 days, not 45 plus 180. Is that it? It's 180 days?
6 months, baby. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is 180 days 6 months?
Yep. I mean, if we're talking 30-month days.
Okay. I gotcha. I don't know. In my head, I guess I felt like it should have been more than that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I guess that makes sense. If you know, it's 365 days a year. Math was never my strong suit. That's why I sold real estate and sent everybody else over to the lender. Embracing her inner spaz. Uh-huh. I can't help it. I like me. I like the way I'm like, I used to try to hide all that stuff. And then I would do all these nervous things where I used to bite my fingernails and stuff because I was trying so hard to control myself.
Mm-hmm.
Forget it. That was fast. Miss Shadow Llama says, Florida homeowner. If I have a Florida homestead, is it better to buy and hold long-term to save on my taxes? The answer is yes. Yes, 100%. Yep, 100%. I don't know.
Yes, but in red.
Yeah, yes, in red. And I'm not sure about the laws in Florida. This is one of those things I want you to, if you're in the retirement age and or ex-military or disabled, find out if there's any other tax exemptions you can have living in the state of Florida. There are other states that offer additional tax exemptions for people in those brackets. So look to find out what other home exemptions, property tax exemptions you might be qualified for, so you could save some more money. So look those up in your specific area. There's
good question.
It is a great question because some states, they give veterans a tax exemption. Other states over 65, they give you a tax exemption. And where my grandmother lived, if you were over the age of 80, you didn't have to pay property taxes anymore.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
In her county, she didn't have to pay for it. My parents
at all?
No. And my parents were panicked. They were like, my mom's like, where's your property tax bill? She's like, I don't pay that. And she said, no, you have to pay that. And she's like, no, after you turn 80, you don't have to pay that. So she was like, my mom was like, so she goes down and like, she's like, so, I want to make sure there's no like tax liens on my mom's property. And they're like, oh, your mom's Beatrice? And they're like, yeah. And she's like, no, they don't have to pay taxes after they're 80. She's good. She's solid. But this is a little tiny town in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania.
Wow, that is blowing my mind right now.
Question: in the future, do you think all homes for sale must be FHA qualified? No, absolutely not. No. We even have condos here that are not FHA qualified, and that's a big problem because there's people that can afford to buy the condos here because they have a loan for it, and they have a, like they have an FHA loan, but the condos themselves are not, they're not built to FHA standards.
Right.
So they cannot sell them to people that have FHA loans.
There's a lot of houses in Pittsburgh that are not FHA qualified. I sold one a couple of months ago and it absolutely needed a new roof. And the buyer had 28% to put down. So instead he put 20% and that 8% he put a new roof on.
Yeah.
So that's and these are owner occupant buyers. These are normal people.
Right. Yeah. And so sometimes people will find a house that isn't FHA qualified, but they know it's in the right neighborhood and it needs a little bit of fixer upper kind of stuff. And they will go ahead and change out their whole loan. They're like, we don't need an FHA loan. We'll just go ahead with a conventional and then we'll go that route so we can fix up because this is in the perfect, school area or whatever. Yeah, they don't know. Not all homes have to be FHA qualified. Sometimes I think that some of those little things are stupid. Eddie and I's first house was an FHA loan. And I mean, it needed a lot of work, but they were like, they were being so stupid about this one little tiny piece of wood. It was a lip edge that was on the end, and even the sellers were like, what, this is what they're worried about. And so they had to go out there and they had to replace it. Then the appraiser had to come back out to make sure it was replaced the way that the FHA wanted it to be replaced. I don't know. Sometimes I think people need to justify their job. Today I found some rotten lip edge. Like with all the things that were wrong with that house, that's the thing you're gonna.
That's what you fixate on.
That's what we're gonna fixate on. All right, Eddie. Next question. But that was a great question. That was a good question. JC said, question, what are the risks of buying a foreclosed home versus buying from a seller? I'm going to give you my top things that I know. When you buy a foreclosed home, you don't know exactly what the sellers have done to the house, right? So the seller is the bank. So there's no disclosure to let you know that if the roof's been replaced, if they've had problem with rats, if there's electrical problems, the bank doesn't even care. The bank basically holds no responsibility to anything that might be wrong with the house. So you could walk into a house and think that it's fine. And even though you've had your inspection, then you go to flush that toilet for the first time and then find out there's a big concrete block in there. And not only that, like they don't check the sewer systems. They don't check any of that. So you could have a totally backed up septic system and that it's not up to code. And the state comes out or the county comes out and says, oh, you have to update your septic system after you've just bought this foreclosed property. It happened to Eddie and I. And it's going to cost you $6,000, something that you didn't account for, so there is risk. But the reward on foreclosed properties, especially if you're an investor, is a lot higher. So that's why most of the foreclosed properties you see that are purchased are by investment property managers. What do you have to say about foreclosed properties?
They are not turnkey. So if you have the mental wherewithal to put in sweat equity and you are planning to own or occupy the house, reduce your budget substantially. So let's say that you were planning to spend $300,000. Look at foreclosures in the market of around $200,000, because that extra money that you're not using for the down payment, you can set aside in the first year to see if anything happens. And we're not talking cosmetic updates, because you can see those. We're talking, like Kristina said, concrete. We're talking crazy mold. We're talking the mold in the HVAC even. We're talking the air conditioner goes because you don't know the age of it. So if you are thinking about purchasing a foreclosed home as an owner occupant, reduce the budget of the traditional on-market homes that you were looking at previously.
Yep. You're not going to get a gem.
No.
You're not getting a Ferrari.
No.
I will say though, years ago, I sold a foreclosed property. Now this area, this would be on the higher end of a foreclosed property. It was $600,000. And normally this house would have probably been about $825,000. And it really was just painted really bad. I mean, honest to God, there was some carpet that was kind of, and the paint colors were absolutely atrocious. On the outside,
purple.
Like they had painted the ceilings
abysmal,
like this really loud blue, and then some of the rooms were pink, like you said, Pepto-Bismol, and the carpet, like I said, it wasn't $220,000 worth of damages, and so those people got a steal. They moved in, they were like, I love my house. I'm like, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. So you can, if you're getting those upper price ranges for your specific area. For some of foreclosures are just what they call lipstick on a pig.
Yep.
You just need to slap it with some new coat of paint and some new carpet, and you call it a day. Next question. Oh, here we go. I bought a house in Maine recently. Love Maine. Recently, without having to sell my home in New York, PA, or York, PA. What goes into deciding whether to rent or sell my prior home?
That's a great question. You should fill out Kristina's referral form to connect you to an agent, and they can run the market analysis for you. And overall, I can say, generally speaking, it depends. It depends if you want to become a landlord. If you've never been a landlord, you're going to want to hire a local property manager to manage the property for you. You lived in the house, so you took great care of it. You'll have to change the insurance to vacant for a time until it is occupied by a tenant. Or you can look at the net that you would get from a real estate agent and say, maybe I want to put that money in retirement. Maybe I want to save it. Maybe I want to do something with that money. And then you can sort of balance that. But if it is your first rental property, I strongly, strongly recommend you hire a very good local property manager. A very good property manager means they have
that fixes crap.
At least 50 rental units. And they have them, and this is important, in the price point of your property. So if you have a $250,000 house, don't hire the property manager that is renting out $80,000 houses, and vice versa. If you have an $80,000 house, don't hire out the property manager that is managing $300,000 condos, because the service providers are not going to be the same. So look for a property manager that manages properties similar to yours.
Keep it. Keep the house. I always say hold on as much real estate as you can. I mean, like if you're nervous or whatever, find a way, figure it out. I would hold on to your real estate. That's just me, because it's always an income producing property. And anyway, you can always have a property that's making you money. Keep it. That's just me. Why do you think big corporations are buying as much real estate as possible? Because it's income producing. It offsets inflation, and they know what's up. They know what's up. Question: have you heard about heard that a tub shower by a wall window results in interior leak? After gutting my bathroom due to an unrelated leak, I now need to replace my wall exterior. Yikes. I have not heard of that before.
I haven't heard that either.
That is new to me.
A lot of people have windows in their bathrooms before fans. So that's very common. My house was built in the 1950s, and so were all the houses in my plan in the 50s. And all of them have windows in the full bathrams.
I really like a window in a bathroom. To be honest, I love that fresh air coming in. Love that. And we don't have that in we have like one of those smoke glass windows that's really big. You know, you can't open that in our little toilet closet. What do you call that?
A TC.
We actually call it the poopatorium room. In the poopatorium room, there we have a window there, but then it faces out to the street. So if we open that, they're gonna be like, the neighbor's gonna be like, "Hi, what's she doing in there?" Just having a little conversation
In my poopatorium.
in the poopatorium room, just having a little. And Eddie like sometimes is like, "Oh man, I hope the neighbors didn't see that," because we'll open the window for the cats, and he'll just be getting up doing it done, and when he opened the window, he's like, "Man, I hope the neighbors didn't see that."
That's funny.
Joe Thorne says, inflation will spur sales as a better to park cash in real estate than to have it lose value in the bank. Amen. Can I get an amen?
Yep.
That's what you do. That's exactly what we do.
100%, Joe.
Hey, Joe, what do you know? Every time I meet somebody named Joe, that's what I do. I go, hey, Joe, what do you know? Harry Harry Bandad,
number one.
Thank you. My dyslexic man. Question. Thanks for the valuable feedback. My home will be ready in June. June last week's, and it is technically, I locked in the APR with 60 days free of costs. It will lock at the close at cost of 1 point for.
So he can lock. So he's buying a house,
right? And he locked in the rate,
and it'll be ready at the end of June. He has a free rate lock for 60 days. Is it worth it to lock in the cost of 1% for the extended rate lock? Yes, because we have no idea where rates are going to go. Absolutely, 100%, unequivocally, yes, do it. If this were a year ago, I would say, sure, whatever, let it ride.
Let it ride.
Now, no.
Well, the only thing is that I would talk to your mortgage provider.
That's true too.
I would talk to your mortgage provider, especially that they have a better insight and heartbeat of what is going to be going on with interest rates. Nobody knew that this was going to happen in Ukraine. If you had told me a month ago, well, we're going to see interest rates drop in the end of February, I would have been like, what are you smoking? That's not true. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden here we are. And we did have a little dip in the mortgage rates. And from a couple articles I'm reading, they're saying that it could be possible that we have a dip again. But don't listen to us. This is just our opinions. Mm-hmm. Go talk to your mortgage provider and see what they think. But the deal that you're getting isn't a bad deal. I will say that. The deal with that. That's a typical deal. If you were going to lock in a rate with the one, you're good. You're good with the 1 point. The points. Elizabeth Thompson says, what do you think about investing in mobile homes or tiny homes? That's my jam. The lot rentals and mobile home parks run about $1,000 here just outside of Seattle. I would only say if you were going to invest in tiny homes and mobile homes, invest in the park itself, right? So if it was me, the only way I would own and invest and buy manufactured homes or tiny homes or anything like that is if I owned the land underneath it. Mm-hmm. No way in God's green earth would I invest in a mobile home that was sitting on rented land, because at any time, and it's happened across the country, and it's been extremely popular now, investors have been purchasing up manufactured home parks, and they have eliminated, they don't even care. They just tell them, we're no longer going to be doing this. We're selling the land and rezoning it and turning it into single family dwellings here. And we're not going to have mobile homes anymore here in this area. Mm-hmm. And then what are those people supposed to do, right? So let's just say you bought a manufactured home that needed a lot of work. You got it for like $60,000. You're thinking, hey, that's a great deal. You fix it up. You're going to get some really good rent on it. You got $1,200 a month, man. You think you are killing it. And sure enough, within 6 months, a big investor firm comes through and they say, forget it. We're going to take out all these manufactured homes. We're going to make a paved paradise and put up a parking lot, basically. So just be very careful if you plan on investing in that way. Own the land that you're going to be putting these homes on. Now in Utah, it's like a hot thing to, I wish my guest would have made it on. I can't wait to bust his chops that he didn't make it on. But in Utah, it is huge to invest in tiny homes, and all through Tennessee, up in the mountains, it's huge to invest in tiny homes for Airbnbs. but they own the land underneath it.
Ooh.
They own the land underneath it. Everybody that I know that's making money on it, they own the land underneath it. Just FYI. Just FYI. Matter of fact, the guy that I even met in, I think it was Warrington, North Carolina, he owned all that land underneath it.
See?
All those, he invested in container homes. He remodeled, he took containers and turned them into little homes. They're amazing. Bullfrog and Company said, question, if I had a listing and it took 45 minute second
45-minute second time showing.
Okay, 45-minute second time showing, and they looked. They have a VA loan, then got an FHA loan, and not more than 4 homes in his price range. What is a normal time to hear for an offer?
If you have a property that only has 4 homes in the MLS price range, then you're going to get a contract pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it depends on what. I mean, he might live in that one area that's in the middle of South Dakota.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Right. So like in our area, if it was, it would be like, if someone was staying there for 45 minutes.
Yeah. They're going to make it happen.
In this market, it'd be by the end of the day. You know, they're probably looking at a couple other houses. They're probably going to have lunch.
Yeah.
And then you would get something at least by 6 o'clock.
Bullfrog said in Florida. We don't know what county Bullfrog, but in Palm Beach County,
you get it
go to the
instantly.
restroom and you'd be washing your hands and you get the contract.
Yeah. So this is a common thing. So that I've been seeing a lot more of is that people are basically putting in a contract sight unseen. The minute the house goes on the market, they're just going ahead and putting an offer because they know what neighborhood they want to live in. And they are so sick of being outbid. So they've been going ahead and making their offer ahead of time before they've even seen the house. Like they do the, of course, the virtual tour, the good pictures, whatever.
I've done it where people live in the same neighborhood or they're like renting a property and it's the same style house, floor plan, everything, build year. What do they need to tour? You know, they live there or their parents live there and and I will put that in the cover sheet of the offer. FYI, no, they didn't tour, but their aunt lives in this same house and they've been going there for Thanksgiving for 10 years. So they didn't need to see it. They know what it looks like. They know how big the dining room is.
Right. But some people are like, I have to see the closet space. You know, some people are like that, but they're like in this market, some people are like, look, I know this is the neighborhood I want to live in. Like my friend lives 3 doors down. I know who the builder is. You know, we'll get our inspection. If the inspection costs are more than $10,000, then that would be the only way I pull out. You know, other than that, you know, I want this house, and they'll go ahead and put an offer before they even look at it. So that's one way to look at things if you're looking for a house. Bullfrog Company, man, he's getting some great
good
things.
luck, Bullfrog. I'm sure you'll be under contract this week.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Question 2, prediction of mortgage rates, please. I say by the end of the year we're gonna be close. We're gonna be close to 5, but I'm saying 4.75. 4.75 is what I'm saying at. But Trevor said 5. He said 5%, but I said 4.75. What do you say?
They're going to bounce around for sure. Like it's not going to be like a stable, like people think, oh, it's going to like slowly. No, it's
never
does.
It's
going to woo.
It always does that.
But it's not going to go down. It's going to be like woo, and then woo. So.
But we said it couldn't go down, and then this week it went down.
It took a tiny dip.
But I mean, if we have lots
catch the dip.
Yeah, if we're gonna have lots of tiny dips, you know, you're gonna be surfing, you know, surfing the market.
Yeah.
You know, if you're trying to catch the waves, I don't know, like it's possible they could go down again. So, all right, I see one more question. It says, all right, question. Bought a new construction home and contract states they have 2 years to build it. Oof. Oh my gosh. Close date has changed 3 times. Can the builder change the closing date to his heart content? Like, I don't know what your contract says, right? Here in Louisiana, you have a contract date. It's supposed to close at a certain time. If it cannot close on that time, they're supposed to do an extension to the closing. They have to come up with an addendum that shows the fact that it's going to be extended. But if they can't get it done, your house done in time, you don't have to buy it, you know, like you don't have to. So if they say, well, we're going to do it in June. Now it's going to be September. No, never mind. It's not going to be until January next year. And you're like, forget this. You don't have to purchase the house. I don't know what your state contract contracts look like. Most builders follow their own contract.
Sure.
Read the fine print, have your real estate agent read the fine print, and then have your real estate attorney or title attorney read the fine print and find if you're wanting to get away from it and you want to walk away and find something else. But they can keep extending it. They can extend it 10 times as long as you're willing to sign that form. I mean,
you got to ask the real estate attorney. That's I don't trust the real estate agent.
well, I don't know who their real estate agent is.
Right.
Yeah. Builders contracts are like, honest to God. Let me just explain. I can really narrow down.
There's one big builder's contracts that I've seen, and I'm like, I would pitch a tent before.
All builders contracts read exactly the same. They're gonna win. They all read the same. And then I'm always, I would be very suspicious if the builder has their own title company and lending institution for their specific homes. I'm not saying like don't do it. I'm saying be very suspicious of what they're offering, because they'll say, and this was common, they'll say, well, you can get $6,000 in closing costs if you use our lenders, and then we'll give you an additional $2,000 if you use our title company. Find out where they're putting that money first off. Like nobody's giving you $8,000. And then secondly of all, find out from an attorney what the disadvantages of doing something like that is when you own a house. Just be very careful is all I'm getting at. And I've told this story before. I sold a house, and the problem is when they went to do the survey, part of their house and their driveway, it was actually in the neighbor's house, and all the houses following behind that were the same. So they had to redo the title work for all of those. Luckily, all the neighbors were in like agreements with one another. Like, hey, this is fine. We'll just go ahead and, because if all it took was one, if one of them said this is a problem, some people might have been having to have part of their house taken off. So just be cautious is all I'm getting at. Now, so I'm getting at. Question: can you find out how tiny homes are insured? Is it hard to get insurance coverage? Yes. It is. So Lloyd's of London, I don't know if you've ever heard of that. They underwrite most of the tiny home insurance in the area. It is expensive. And of course it has to do with your credit and everything else. And I just did a video like maybe 2 months ago of a woman who has a tiny home that she had taken a shed and made it into a tiny home. And she's on the fence on how much she actually spends for insurance. Would it really even be worth it to even have it? So she's kind of at the point of, I don't even know if I'm going to keep my insurance anymore. And if you're having a tiny home that's on wheels, you have no choice. You have RV insurance that's completely different. But if you're trying to get homeowners insurance to a tiny home that's attached to land, it can be expensive. It can be very expensive. Just FYI. Lloyd's of London is the company. Lloyd's of London. That's the company that like insures like supermodels' faces. I'm not kidding. Like,
really?
Yeah, they'll insure dancers' feet. Yeah. So if you're like irreparably damaged from, that they'll insure it. Makes sense. Somebody like comes up to you and smacks you in the leg with a
and you're a figure skater.
And you're a figure skater, yeah. And you've been insured. Lloyd's of London would take care of it. Cece Moon says, do you think the average time a person stays in a home will increase? I wonder if new homeowners will stay in a home more than 10 years.
Ooh, good question.
Yeah. So there was like in the 2007s, it was like 3 years.
Yeah.
And then it went to 5 years. And now the average is 5 to 7. Yeah. 5 to 7 years, I think is what they said. The way that real estate has increased, and I don't know, because younger people are more willing to say, you know what, I hate this job. I'm not staying here forever, and they're not as fearful of the unknown. Right. So they're more willing to jump ship. They'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I still think it's going to stay around that 7-year mark. I think we're going to continue to keep seeing it at the 7-year mark. My house is 7 years.
You ready to?
No. No. Matter of fact, right now, I'm not even joking. My daughter is painting a mural in my living room. So I'm going to have a mural of cats. My youngest daughter is a really talented artist. She taught herself over the pandemic how to draw. She just learned how to do that, by the way.
She just learned?
Just learned how to do that. And so now, like, we have the two cats. And so I wanted a mural of cats in my living room. So now I'm going to have like these cartoon versions of the cats in my living room.
It's awesome.
When it's done, I'll show you a picture of it. So stupid. Lawnmower says, Kristina, this is what really happened with interest rates. The Fed Open Market Committee was sitting around bored and said, hey, hold my beer, watch this. Yeah, they're like,
yes,
let's see
that happened.
Let's see how we can best with as many YouTubers as possible. Great job, Kristina, Tanya, and Eddie. How many times you think daily? How would it be if we go back to 2020 and start all over? How many years?
Sad face.
How many years will it take to settle down? You know, I was so hoping that once the vaccines came out and everything would start to even out and settle down. I expected inflation. I didn't expect it to be as bad as it's getting. I expected, because I read so many statistics about supply chain issues, I expected that to get better, but then we had another wave. What was that, Omicron? And that caused a big problem. I've said it so many times, and I'm sure you know this. Mm-hmm. I'm tired of living in unprecedented times. I'm ready for normal. I'm ready for the top news story to be like some celebrity saved a kid from drowning while they were jogging and saw them in the ocean and pulled them out there. Like, I want that to be the headline news story.
But to answer the second part of your question, how many years will it take to settle down? It's not going to settle down anytime soon.
10.
And I've said this for a while. There's several factors are contributing to the rise in residential housing prices. One, knowledge workers are staying at home and working from home. So there's been a shift in value from commercial to residential. Two, millennial home buyers have their credit weighed differently in the sense that their consumer debt is weighed differently than their debt from college. So their education debt is weighed differently. Three, a lot of them are coming into their home prime buying years. And there hasn't been, as Kristina said multiple times, they've been under building houses since 2008, when so many small and medium-sized builders went bankrupt. And of course, 4, supply chain issues are serious. And the fifth one is there's a large wave of retiring construction workers across the country. Construction salaries are rising rapidly. So there's so many factors contributing to the housing shortage, the housing markets being historical and rising, and it's not going to go away in the next few years.
They expected that the elderly was going to cause a big uptick of the supply of homes. They said, oh, the thing is we have so many people retiring. We're going to see lots of houses, little empty nester houses, and they're going to all move to Florida. Well, you know what most of them said? You know what? It's too expensive. I'm just going to go ahead and stay right here. My grandkids live right around the corner, and they retired in place in record numbers. They were not expecting that. So, a lot, just like anything, just take a lot of information from a lot of different sources. Don't just listen to me. Don't just listen to Tanya. Listen to a lot of different sources. So that way you get the best information for yourself. I have a million opinions. Just ask me, but doesn't mean them are all right. I do a lot of research. There's no doubt about it. And so does Tanya. Tanya's probably one of the smartest people I know.
Oh, thank you.
I'm like, damn, you make me look good a lot of times.
Masako Yamaguchi question: are you at a disadvantage if you're doing 15% down on a conventional loan instead of 20% down when there are multiple offers on a home? Yes. Let me tell you why. What happens when you're the listing agent and you are getting, let's say on average, 5 offers in Pittsburgh? What I'm doing is I fill out a rubric. Okay. And what it does is it says the type of financing, the price, the closing timeline, do they have a home to sell, any other details about the offer, such as what inspections, and do they have an appraisal gap, and are they willing to take the first X dollars in inspection findings. And Masako, one of the first things that we look at are what percentage are you putting down? Because if you put down 20, 25, 30%, you are more attractive than somebody putting down 5, 10, or 15%. That's just one of the factors. Why? Because for the seller and for the listing agent, that means that you are more likely to buy the house statistically. because you are more solvent. Now you can go back and you can decide when you're under contract, you know what, I'm only going to put down 10%. As long as you have the funds to cover that appraisal gap, if one exists, you're fine. But put all of your cards up front. Put down your maximum percent loan to value that you can put. And by the way, the listing agent will call your mortgage broker and they will want to know in writing, do you have proof that there's that liquid funds? Did they submit their W-2s? Do they submit their tax returns? And you can be sure that that the typical real estate agent cannot get a hold of Rocket Mortgage or Quicken Loans or those big brand names, and they can get hold of a local mortgage broker like Trevor much more easily. And that is going to be more advantageous for your offer.
Yeah. Yeah. I've, surprisingly, and I'm saying this just for me, I've had a few of those Rocket mortgages and I thought, oh God, I was so scared. It was actually turned out well.
Really?
It did.
Good.
And I asked, I'm in a group and they said, yeah, we did the Rocket mortgage. I was shocked. It actually turned out great. I was like, they upped their game because years ago they were terrible. Years ago.
Interesting.
I don't know if maybe that's just here.
Maybe the buyer just had 800 credit and
I don't know. I have no idea, but it turned out well. All right, vertically not challenged, the opposite of me.
That would be my spouse.
Yeah. Question: is it more advantageous to buy land with a tear down on it or land that is vacant? I have an opinion about this. Do you have an opinion about this?
I do, but I think it varies by market. So you go.
My opinion is if it's a tear down and it already has all your plumbing and all that stuff, yeah, take the one with already has the land improvements, because land improvements can cost a lot, especially here, because we're below sea level. And sometimes if you need to have a well dug and all that other stuff, it can get really, really pricey. If it's already got a house on it and all you have to do is kind of scrape the pad and start all over again, that would be me.
Vertically not challenged 100% of the time in Metro Pittsburgh, you're going to want the tear down 100% of the time.
Okay.
Because water, sewer, and electrical lines and gas lines run to the house are extremely expensive. Even if the sewer line is bad, which if it's more than 40 years old, it probably is. The electrical line probably isn't bad. The gas line and the water line probably aren't bad. So you're coming out at least 150 grand ahead than if truly vacant, unimproved land.
Right. So, well, it has been an hour and a half, and I haven't kept you here for this long. I want to say thank you to Miss Tanya here for coming in. And look, you know what? If you need to get a hold of Tanya there in the Pittsburgh area, not only does she know where the best chip ham places are, she has got some mad real estate skills, and you can go to her website right there, TanyaCool.com. TanyaCool.com. She's cooler than the other side of the pillow. That is not her catchphrase. That's the one I gave her.
That's true. Those are real houses that I have sold, and that is really me in that video.
No way. That doesn't look anything like you. That is a fraud right there.
And that is, people always say, like, you always see people on different rented cars or whatever. Like that is really my parents' boat. I'm really sitting on my parents' property right there doing the video.
Oh, your parents are fancy with their boat.
We have lakes and stuff like that. It's not an ocean boat. It's like a 400-acre boat.
I miss boating. Like the water here is not something I want to go water skiing in. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever seen Louisiana water. It is muck. And if you step in it, it's like this. It's like, but we do have good crawfish.
I was just going to say, that's where the crawfish
comes from. All right, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic week. I will have a video out on Tuesday. I am talking about the real estate headlines once again, but I'm also giving you some really good tips, just like we gave here today, about buying a house this year and some of the things you can do. If you need a real estate referral in your area, I know I sound like a commercial right now. If you need a real estate referral in your area, just go ahead to go to my website at KristinaSmallhorn.com and click the contact button and fill out a referral form. I will get back to you ASAP. If you leave your phone number, I will be calling you so we can talk about it. It's whoever put in crawdads, Killian. No, indeed, those are crawfish. Oh, crawdads. They call them other things in other areas. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's a crawfish. This is crawfish season. So if you are coming to Louisiana, and you want to know about some crawfish and the best places to get crawfish, give me a call. Like, fill out that form.
Also, fill out the contact form.
Fill out the contact form. I'll hook a sister up with some good information on where to get the best crawfish. And have you ever had the oysters? The char-grilled oysters.
Oh,
they're so good this time of year.
They are delicious.
So
Actually,
good.
Eddie's who told me where to go.
Yeah.
And then we went.
Yeah.
So delicious.
Delicious. Everybody, I hope you have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for spending this last hour and a half with me. I've had a fantastic time. So Eddie's got the music going. Everybody dance your way out. You gonna dance? I do this. Do you remember Pulp Fiction? That's what she did. I'm no Uma Thurman though. As much as I like to pretend I am in my head. Without having those needles stuck in your face. Do you remember that part?
Minus that part.
Yeah, minus that part. That was creepy.